because not everybody would be able to pay the extra $3. So supply would decrease, and this will be an efficient point, because at this point society is better off. There will be a little bit less pollution, less wear and tear, etc. Less traffic. If you don't put this tax or this $3 tax on them, then this will be the equilibrium point, and this is not an efficient point. There will be dead weight loss, and society is not better off at this point. So that's basically what this graph is trying to show you. Okay?
So is there any particular name for the triangle?
Dead weight loss.
No, opposite of dead weight loss in between social goals and private goals?
This area?
Yeah, between.
No.
Oh yeah.
No, this.
This one, this area.
Yeah, this is just the supply is decreasing, because when you put an extra $3, when you increase the price, supply is going to decrease, right?
Okay.
So this is your tax money area. Okay? Now, the last thing we have to talk about is Gini coefficient. So basically, know the definitions of, know the formula for social cost and social benefit, because I could ask you a question that this is social cost, this is private cost, this is social benefit, what's the private benefit equal to? And you can calculate, using the formula. So something like that. And then you should know that the efficiency point or beyond that is dead weight loss. So Lorenz curve. For a 2% economy, each person earns 50% of total income. So Lorenz curve is basically used to see how much inequality is in a country. So what are the income disparities? How much is there a big difference between rich people and poor people? That's what this graph shows you. So, for this graph right now, we're assuming that one economy has two people, right? So, one entire country or whatever has only two people, and 50% of the income makes one person, and 50% of the total income makes another person. So in an economy, 50% of income belongs to one person, 50% belongs to another person. So that's an equal distribution, and it's a straight line. That is equal distribution. It's ideal. It's not ideal. I mean, it's like, social. What do they say? Like communist, social, whatever. So this is equal distribution of income, 50-50. So two people both make 50-50. One makes 50, other makes 50. What about if there are two people and one makes 25% of the income of the entire nation's income and the other makes 75% of the entire nation's income? So this was 50-50, right? 50% of the income by both of them. %50 of households, 50% of income by both of them. So if one makes 25% and the other makes 75%, this is what it's gonna look like. Unequal split. Unequal split of 25 and 75. If there are two people in the economy and one is making 0 income and the other one is making 100%, so the first one is making 0, the second one, the second person is making 100%, it would be a flat line like that. This line represents 0% income by the first person. The first 50 is making 0, and the second person is making 100%. Worst possible split. Split. So, we will call this area A and this area B. Gini coefficient measures position of Lorentz curve. Gini coefficient measures position of Lorentz curve It is the ratio of area A divided by area A plus B. So it is a ratio of area A divided by area A plus B. If distribution were equal area A would disappear. And become 0. If extremely unequal, area B would disappear. The lower the Gini, the more equal the distribution. The lower the Gini coefficient, the more equal the income distribution. So an example, and the higher, and vice versa, right? So the higher it is, the more unequal the distribution, right? So for example, the Gini coefficient risen from risen from 0.394 in 1970s in US to 0.480 in 2014. What does this mean? If Gini coefficient has risen, what has happened in this time period? If Gini coefficient, it says the lower the Gini coefficient, the more equal income distribution is. If Gini coefficient is rising, what's happening in US?
It's unequal.
Income is becoming more unequal, right? Income distribution means more unequal income distribution now. Means more unequal income distribution. Now, so you won't have to calculate per se the Gini coefficient, but the questions will ask you something like that. Is it is low, like what does it mean to have a lower Gini coefficient? What does it mean to have a higher Gini coefficient? Stuff like that. So you should know what it means, not like exactly how to calculate it. So one way the US redistributes income is taxation, right? We have progressive tax. Progressive tax system is if you make higher money, you're gonna pay higher taxes. And those who are rich people, they pay more in tax, and government takes that tax money and gives it to the poor. So this kind of progressive tax system is to keep this at a balance. We don't want extremely equal. We don't want extremely unequal. We want to stay in a decent middle, you know, where we just want to avoid the extremes, right? Avoid the extreme here, avoid the extreme here. So Republicans argue that that any differences in income is due to the natural market. That people, if they want to make more money, they have to work harder, they have to compete, and we should let the markets work naturally. The Democrats believe that society should, you know, we should redistribute the money, we should have more taxes, we should help out the poor, So nobody is wrong. We cannot say that there's one correct answer, but we can say that we should avoid the extremes, basically, right? Okay, last thing. So poverty is number of people living below the threshold. Number of people living below the poverty threshold. So thresholds are updated each year to account for inflation. Each year to account for inflation. So in 2015, the poverty threshold was, I will write poverty threshold was income equal to or below 24,259. So equal to or below this income, you were in poverty. So poverty rate is percent of people living in poverty. Poverty rate for blacks. And Hispanics is roughly double than whites.